Right now, it's been labelled a conservation retreat and a war on nature. The government says it plans to unleash growth by boosting the number of concessions given to businesses wanting to operate on conservation land, claiming it wants to drive more revenue return and thereby help conservation. Plus, they're also wanting to slap charges on foreign visitors who want to access our most iconic natural attractions. Chlöe Swarbrick's the Greens co-leader for Reaction this morning. Chloe, good morning.
Morning, Ryan.
So first of all, the fee that we would charge foreigners, and this to me makes perfect sense. It's a no-brainer. It's $20 to $60, whatever it is. You got any and it's going towards conservation. Any problems with that part of it?
Yeah, if we just zoom out and take a step back, we're talking about a government that cut Department of Conservation funding by approximately 66 million last year alone. So that's on top of other cuts that they've made this year and also in Nicola Willis's mini budget when they first came in. So the 62 million that this is projected to raise will only be a drop in a bucket as far as that goes. Then,
but at least we're not paying for it, right? At least we're not paying for it. At least it's foreigners paying for it, I suppose.
Well, then I think that we have to ask the question of what the administrative burden is of applying this fee, because as you know, that story before alluded to, this is not going to be added to the international visitor levy, which, by the way, National opposed when it was first introduced, went hard against it, calling it a tourist tax when it was $35. Now they've increased it as of the last budget to $100, so they see it as a good idea. Just one of the many dangers of politics, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how this is actually going to be implemented. It is not an inherently bad idea at all for us to raise more revenue. There's a lot of different ways that we can do that.
Okay,
but
good.
I think that we need to look at the bigger picture where this government has consistently not invested what is necessary in our Department of Conservation to protect our natural environment.
Okay, all right. So we've got another revenue stream, another lever to pull. Everyone's happy about that. We're happy-ish about that. What about this idea that some of the land that the conservation estate could be further opened up to private enterprise, albeit things like guided walks and, you know, maybe you'd have a few extra concerts or you'd let some more filming happen in our national parks. Big deal?
Well, we're not actually at this point in time crystal clear on what that looks like, Ryan. So I think that that is one of the really important questions to put to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister needs to rule out that there will be no mining on conservation land, because as we've already seen with the direction of travel, this government does not value our natural environment. They've made it easier to kill our endangered species, the likes of kiwi. They've also obviously fast-tracked coal mining and kiwi habitats. But, you know, Forest and Bird hasn't come out lightly on this issue. This is the most significant rollback in conservation protections in a generation. And that is saying a lot in the context of the way that this government looks at our natural environment as something to exploit.
As you're talking, Chloe, we're playing beautiful pictures of Milford Sound, I think it was. Just to be clear, no one's going to be building a McDonald's or mining at Milford Sound. This is talking about marginal land, stewardship land, some of which is not, basically can't be classified. It's not going to be our most beautiful, pristine areas that we are going to be potentially using for commercial purposes, right?
Well, again, Ryan, when we start to roll these protections back, we see that we tend to never get them back. And this, again, is case in point. We are changing, or the government is proposing to change, the fundamental role of the Department of Conservation from that of protecting our natural environment to simply managing its use. And this is where we're seeing that direction of travel from protection and conservation of the things that New Zealanders hold dear towards exploitation. And this is the same poison that we have been sold for decades now, where we've seen our forests sold off offshore, 70% of them now owned offshore. There's no incentive to actually create jobs locally, which is why those logs pile up at our ports and are sold off overseas and finished overseas. And again, when we're looking at the conservation land in particular, if we start seeing these protections roll back, it is hard to see that we will ever get them back. It is not a direction of travel that is sustainable.